He wakes up to find himself hogtied, trapped in a dimly lit room, surrounded by several burly men preparing to torment him for their amusement. What's even more terrifying is that in another room, his wife and daughter are facing the same desperate plight. The reason they have fallen into such a state is simply because they owe the temple a debt that can never be repaid. In this era where human life is treated like grass, if you cannot pay up, you must use your wife and daughter as collateral. Just as the tragedy is about to unfold, a sudden commotion erupts outside the door. A group of Ronin calling themselves the Merciful Guardians of Enryakuji smash their way in. They are not here to collect debts, but to enforce justice on behalf of heaven. They loot the ill-gotten wealth that these predatory monks have squeezed from the people and redistribute it to the suffering poor. This is the Muromachi period of Japan, a chaotic world where corpses line the fields and even the shogun can barely fend for himself. For a commoner viewed as nothing more than an ant by the upper class, just how much power can they unleash for the sake of survival? Today, we look at this epic masterpiece, Muromachi Burai, the Muromachi Outlaws, and witness a massive commoner uprising ignited by a single Ronin that sweeps across the entirety of Kyoto. The story takes place in the second year of Kansho, about 560 years ago, when the Japanese capital of Kyoto was hit by unprecedented famine and plague. Instead of providing relief, the rulers launched massive construction projects to build a magnificent 7-story pagoda for the shogun, ultimately leading to 82,000 people starving to death. The banks of the Kamo River are strewn with corpses. The soldiers responsible for disposing of the bodies have long since gone numb, tossing them into ditches as roughly as if they were handling garbage. These laborers handling the dead are mostly poor people in debt, using endless hard labor to repay those loans that can never be cleared. A man named Hyoe stands on high, watching this hell on earth with indifference. He is a Ronin, barely scraping by in these chaotic times. He sees a skeletal mother holding a child who has long since died, her eyes empty, as if her soul has been extracted. Hyoe silently steps forward and hands her his only bit of food. This is the one act of kindness he can offer in this hell. The scene shifts to a dilapidated village where Gyoshin, a pawnbroker monk from Enryakuji Temple, is arrogantly collecting debts with his henchmen. The boy of the family, Saizo, watches helplessly as his mother and sister are dragged away. He angrily grabs a stick but is easily beaten to the ground. Gyoshin even snatches away the last of their rice intended for sowing. He intends to drive them to absolute ruin. Just as these evil monks prepare to return fully loaded for a banquet at the temple, a mysterious team lies in ambush in the shadows. They are the Burai led by Hyoe, a group of Ronin abandoned by society. They specialize in robbing these heartless vampires to reclaim their ill-gotten wealth. Saizo, having fought back, catches the attention of Hyoe's men. They tie Saizo up and take him back to their hideout. Inside the hideout, the Ronin divide the spoils, while Saizo, tied to a tree, becomes the object of their mockery. Just as the crowd laughs at Saizo, a man steps out from the shadows. He is the chief of security in Kyoto, Honekawa Doken. He stops his subordinates' rowdiness and tells Saizo that they are not robbers, but are punishing those monks who lend money knowing the people cannot pay. Because the shogun's power has waned, he is forced to use these villainous methods to maintain order in Kyoto. But Saizo shouts out, mentioning the legend that Doken's sword hilt is carved with a skull. As soon as the words fall, Doken reveals the skull on his sword hilt. A lazy voice comes from behind. It is Hyoe. Hyoe walks over. He is the true leader of this group of Ronin. Everything just now was merely a test for Saizo. At this moment, the samurai named Doken has come to visit. He is a shogunate official and an old acquaintance of Hyoe. Doken is here to hire Hyoe to stop a riot in the Carter's village in Kawachi province, where people have been driven to desperation by famine and plague. Doken worries that if the riot grows too large, it will affect his career, so he hopes Hyoe can solve this trouble for him, the shogun's dog. After some bargaining, they settle on 400 mon plus Saizo, the monkey brat. Doken seems to see some potential in Saizo and doesn't hesitate to trade 600 mon and the boy's future for Hyoe's cooperation. Just like that, Saizo is taken away by Hyoe. Hyoe mocks the way he struggled in the water, calling him a frog, and roughly begins his reformation. The two arrive at a checkpoint where guards demand high tolls, beating or drawing swords on anyone who disobeys. A merchant is brutally killed just for complaining, serving as a warning to others. Hyoe has seen enough. He claims to be a penniless ronin and walks straight forward. Wielding his sword, he enters like a force of nature, slaughtering the tyrannical guards. Then, he takes the wealth looted from the people and sets fire to the evil checkpoint. Saizo is terrified by Hyoe's actions. He knows the Shogunate samurai will not let this slide, and Doken will be furious. Meanwhile, at the shogun's residence in Kyoto, the shogun and his ministers are indifferent to the suffering of the people. While admiring the gardens, they speak contemptuously of the commoners, believing they are like beetles that cannot be crushed, and that oil can be squeezed from them even after death. Doken reports the possibility of a Ronin rebellion to the high-ranking official Ise, using this as an excuse to demand extra payment. His eyes see only power and money. On the other side, Hyoe takes Saizo to Yosaka village, the very place Doken sent him to quell the riot. As soon as they arrive at the village entrance, they see the village under attack by another group of starving Ronin. Hyoe acts without hesitation, fighting alongside Saizo to repel the invaders and save the village. The villagers are endlessly grateful, and a village girl named Kohagi is filled with curiosity and admiration for Hyoe and Saizo. Hyoe charges a fee to provide advice on fortifying the village defenses, while Saizo, at the children's begging, teaches them staff fighting. Hyoe confirms with the village head that they are indeed planning a riot. The villagers have been driven to the brink by harsh taxes and endless corvée labor, even having to sell their daughters to pay debts. Hyoe advises them that the time is not yet ripe. He takes out the money obtained from burning the checkpoint and distributes it to the villagers, promising to find them helpers. He gives a beautiful hairpin brought from Kyoto to Kohagi. Seeing the innocent smiles of the girls, Hyoe has mixed feelings. After leaving the village, Hyoe tells Saizo that he has stopped the riot for Doken and Saizo is free. Touched by Saizo's determination, Hyoe agrees to teach him martial arts, but on one condition. Saizo must completely entrust his life to Hyoe for the next year, even if it means death. Saizo agrees without hesitation. To him, his soul died when he worked for the blood-sucking moneylenders. Now, he only wants to follow Hyoe and live his own life. The two arrive in Imazu, where Hyoe entrusts Saizo to a swordsmith named Master. The Master's training methods are hellish. The first thing he does is have his mute assistant girl, Hyoe, pull out Saizo's wisdom tooth. Next, he makes Saizo practice on a log swaying in the water, hammering countless nails into the wood with a staff. A moment's carelessness means falling into the freezing water. Hyoe returns to Kyoto to meet his old lover, Huji. Huji is the owner of a bathhouse and is well connected, serving as Hyoe's key informant in Kyoto. Soon, Doken arrives, suspecting Hyoe is hiding there because the burning of the checkpoint has been exposed. Huji skillfully maneuvers around Doken with teasing and sarcasm. She not only protects Hyoe hiding in the dark, but also berates Doken for ignoring the people's suffering despite being the security chief. Doken leaves empty-handed, leaving a threat that if Hyoe commits arson again, he will not be spared. It turns out Huji was also once Doken's lover, but now her heart belongs only to the free-spirited Ronin Hyoe. Time passes and Saizo's training enters the second stage. This time, he faces pottery shards and sharp arrows flying from all directions. Saizo is hit time and again, covered in cuts and bruises, but he does not give up. Under the strict tutelage of the master and Shohei, he gradually masters the skills of dodging and blocking. Finally, he completes all training, transforming from a crying frog into a true master of the staff. The master gives him a high-quality staff as a graduation gift, but tells him the final test is a matter of life and death. Hyoe sets up a fighting ring in Kyoto, offering a reward to anyone who can defeat Saizo. For 10 consecutive days, no one can match him, and his fame spreads rapidly. On this day, Gyoshin, the pawnbroker monk robbed by Hyoe's Burai, comes looking for trouble with his men. He mistakes Saizo for an accomplice from back then and seeks revenge. Saizo is no longer the weakling he once was. He easily defeats Gyoshin's men and warns Gyoshin that he will show no mercy if they return. After Gyoshin flees in panic, Hyoe appears. It turns out this was all arranged by Hyoe. Saizo's training is officially complete. He says goodbye to the master and Chohei, grateful for their teaching over the past year. Hyoe asks Saizo if he now knows what flows faster than money in this world. Saizo shakes his head. Hyoe tells him, fame and stories. It is precisely because of the story of the invincible Saizo that 3 skilled ronin have come to join them. They are the swordsman Akama Seishiro, the spearman Nanao no Genzo, and the giant strongman Umakiri Emontaro. Hyoe's team is growing. However, just as they are actively preparing, terrible news arrives. Yosaka village has been bloodbathed by the local lord, Nawa. Densuke holds Kohagi's body and lets out a heart-wrenching scream. The hairpin that once brought her infinite hope is now stained with blood, fallen in the dust. This tragedy thoroughly ignites everyone's rage. September 11th, the agreed date for the uprising, draws near. Hyoe's subordinate, Densuke, is taken for a talk by Doken's men. Doken hires Hyoe again to stop the upcoming large-scale riot, unaware that the leader of this riot is Hyoe himself.
Hyoe, Baku no juze, ikki no kuwadate o shite iru. Sono kibo, kore made no hi de nai. Hyoe, kore o mizen ni tomeu.
Hyoe arrives at the rebels' secret meeting place, where Carter leaders and ronin from all over are gathering, waiting for the general. When Hyoe appears, the crowd erupts. He is the general of this massive Tokusei Ikki debt cancellation uprising. He signs his name on the covenant, announcing that in 1 month they will burn all the moneylenders' IOUs and destroy all unjust checkpoints. Afterward, Hyoe goes to see Doken alone. He pretends he was forced to become the leader and begs Doken for mercy. His acting is so realistic that Doken believes him. Once Doken lets his guard down, Hyoe finally reveals his hand. He tells Doken he intends to destroy this cruel world with his own hands and build a new one. He asks Doken, for the sake of their old friendship, to give them 1 hour to retrieve the IOUs and the mortgaged wives and daughters. Doken agrees, but warns that they have only 1 hour. Hyoe tells Doken the uprising date is a day a month later, to be announced by a messenger from the Fushimi Inari shrine. This is actually a smokescreen. The day of the uprising is getting closer, and more ronin and desperate farmers join Hyoe's team, creating a massive force. Hyoe devises a detailed battle plan. The rebel army will advance from the outskirts of Kyoto in a star formation toward the city center, targeting all moneylenders' shops. He intentionally leaks false information to make Doken think they will attack the 7 entrances checkpoints at sunrise on September 12th. In reality, their true attack time is midnight on September 11th. Hyoe knows well that they, a group of beetles, can only defeat the fully armed samurai by using their brains. The decisive night arrives. While the samurai guarding the checkpoints wait by the bonfires for tomorrow's battle, countless torches light up in the pitch-black forest. The rebel army surges out like a tide, instantly destroying the checkpoints. Doken realizes he has been played by Hyoe. The uprising squads weave through the city, shouting heaven's punishment on the moneylenders. More and more poor people pick up weapons and join their ranks. Hyoe's plan works. The rebel army uses their familiarity with the terrain to constantly change direction, cleverly avoiding the main forces of Doken and the samurai.
道剣一党との衝突を避け、無傷で二条通りを目指す。そのため、小国寺の大東の各階に松明隊を置き。
That magnificent 7-story pagoda now serves as their signal tower. People light torches on every level to guide the troops outside the city.
明かりおったな、Hyoe。いえ、マンはおる。
つまらぬ世はさっさと潰し。
抜け。切り捨ててくれる。
The number of rebels grows rapidly from 5,000 to over 10,000. They are unstoppable, fighting their way to the moneylender's headquarters in Nijo. The giant Umakiri Emontaro charges first, smashing open the gate with his body. The rebels swarm in, burning houses and throwing all the IOUS into the fire. People cheer, tearing the IOUS that symbolize their suffering into pieces and tossing them into the air, the firelight reflecting on their ecstatic faces. Meanwhile, the main force led by Hyoe has reached the outside of the imperial palace, engaging in a fierce battle with the guarding samurai. They use carts to build a defensive wall against archers. Everyone charges at the domineering samurai with the resolve to die. The battle is incredibly brutal. Hyoe's old comrade, Goromon, unfortunately sacrifices himself in the chaos. Even as he dies, he sings the song symbolizing the spirit of the Burai. Just then, Doken arrives with the main force. Looking at the messy battlefield and his dead colleagues, he angrily questions Hyoe. The Lord Nawa, who massacred Yosaka village, also appears with his guards. Seeing his enemy, Densuke sees red and rushes forward regardless of danger, only to be stabbed to death by Nawa. Watching another companion fall, Hyoe picks up Densuke's staff, his eyes burning with the fire of vengeance. He rushes at Nawa, wielding two swords, and begins the final showdown with Nawa's guards. Saizo, Nanaono Genzo, and Umakiri Emontaro also join the fight. In the melee, Hyoe kills Nawa, avenging all the dead. But he is also critically wounded and collapses in front of Doken. Doken looks at his former friend with complex emotions. He does not kill Hyoe immediately, nor does he make things difficult for Saizo. Hyoe asks Doken to let Saizo go because this young man will finish what they failed to do. Using his last bit of strength, Hyoe smiles and asks Saizo, "We had fun, right, Frog?" Doken finally beheads Hyoe, ending the life of this outlaw hero in a dignified manner. He lets Saizo leave Kyoto to wait for the right time. This massive uprising eventually ends with the Shogunate issuing a Tokusei order, Act of Grace, canceling debts. Doken was eventually captured in the turmoil, meeting a fate similar to Hyoe's. The 7-story pagoda that witnessed their friendship and rupture was also burned down in the flames of war, never to be rebuilt. Many years later, a young man closely resembling Saizo appears in the countryside, carrying a staff on his shoulder. The spirit of the Burai has not been extinguished. Like a wildfire, it will continue to burn endlessly across this land.
久しゅうございますな、王子様。